Namaste. My name is Preity Upala, and I am a global thought leader and a multimedia personality. Welcome to my podcast, The Preity Experience. Join me as I explore some of the most fascinating and crucial issues that affect our world today. I take a unique global perspective on these issues, and the very foundation of my insights is humanity and spirituality. I'm Preity Upala, and welcome to the Preity Experience.
We would like to thank you for joining us tonight for a special celebration. You're going to meet incredible people tonight. So welcome, and we know that you're going to have a wonderful evening. My name is Pooja, and I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm one of the volunteers for the Art of Living Foundation. And Art of Living is one of the largest volunteer-based humanitarian and educational organization in the world today. We offer stress relief techniques and self-development courses in about 156 countries. That has touched over 450 million people who have experienced profound inner peace, happiness, and well-being as a result. The founder of this organization is Sri Ravi Shankar, who's a world-renowned humanitarian and peace leader. His vision is to create violence-free and stress-free society while holding a larger vision for world peace. He says a disease-free body and stress-free mind is a birthright of every human being. Sri Ravi Shankar is a pioneer in spreading global peace, resolving conflicts, and providing stress relief to millions. And Sri University Hospital will be an exemplary vision of Sri and will serve as a role model for hospitals to come up and thrive in Eastern India. With love, we call Sri Gurudev. And Gurudev's vision and mission is to build a state-of-the-art hospital, integrating the best of East and West medicine in the state called Orissa in India. We're training doctors to provide holistic healthcare to all patients, irrespective of their socioeconomic status, by combining the best of East and West, which will not only treat symptoms of the disease, but will eliminate the root cause, thereby preventing the onset of disease. This has been an amazing journey, organizing this amazing gala event. And there are so many amazing volunteers who have been working tirelessly to make this event happen. So this is the evening full of incredible people. Some of them are celebrities and some of them are volunteers. Everybody is important. This is going to be an intimate evening where all hearts have come together, but our cause will continue to move even after this evening. We would want your continued support as we move together. Every contribution counts. Each pair of hands that come and support this cause is welcome. We're so grateful for everyone, and we are pleased to inform you that from the time we started working on this project, some of the people have been very generous with donations. And as we proceed on with the program, I will be announcing it. I'll be happy to announce that later on. And we really hope this inspires, more of us to support this noble cause. I personally got inspired by this noble cause because it is making a huge difference in the lives of the poor and needy in India. So let's come together and be part of our team. Let's support this grand vision and support the cause. So on that note, we'll watch a short video.
The dire shortage of healthcare access and resources in addition. There are only 7 health institutions per 1 million population in the entire state. This number is further exacerbated in that there are only 7 doctors per 1 million in rural addition, inhabited by a population of 37 million people. Lack of access to basic healthcare needs often means that many have to travel a long way to see a doctor, but due to arduous conditions, they frequently succumb to death. Those who reach the hospitals, mostly in major cities, are either cared for in hospital hallways due to shortage of staff and beds, or cannot afford the services at all. Sri Sri University recognizes this as a humanitarian crisis that can be easily alleviated by a hospital dedicated to serving Odisha's rural population through culturally competent care. The aim of the fundraiser is to build a world-class healthcare system that will reach the state's villagers across 54,000 rural districts.
I'm from Canada. My name is Amarjit Mahal. I came here for treatment. I had a lot of skin problems in my body, on my arms and my legs and the back. And I was quite bad with a lot of rashes, with bleeding. And I come here and I had a treatment with Dr. Nikila. And now I'm almost 80% better. I'm very, very happy. And I'm taking some stuff with me to cure the rest of what problem I have. Thank you so much. I love this place. I love the people. Best people in the world. I enjoy so much, and I will looking forward to come back next year. That was so beautiful.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pooja, for that amazing introduction. Can you all hear me? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm Apurva, and I am joining you all from Washington, D.C. I work in public health and health policy, and I'm so honored to be part of the Sri Sri University Fundraiser Gala event. Today, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker. Today's keynote speaker is a world-renowned pioneer in integrative medicine and personal transformation. He's the founder of Chopra Center, where his integrative medicine approach to health, that of combining the medical model of conventional Western medicine with alternative therapies such as yoga, mindfulness, meditation, and Ayurveda, has been instrumental in bringing meditation and Ayurveda to the forefront in the Western world. He's a fellow of the American College of Physicians, member of the American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists, as well as a member of the Board of Advisors for the National Ayurvedic Medical Association. He's a clinical professor of family medicine and public health at the University of California at San Diego, and serves as a senior scientist with Gala organization. He has authored over 90 books, 90, which have been translated into over 43 languages, and many of them have been New York Times bestsellers. Please welcome none other than Dr. Deepak Chopra as our keynote speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Apurva, and it's great to see all of you. It's a very great pleasure to support this new effort by my Guru Bhai, Sri Ravi Shankar, who I've known for 35 years at least, and amazed by all his accomplishments over the years. So this is yet another great initiative that must be supported at all costs. So over 35 years, I've looked at what is called integrative medicine. My background actually is an internist and then endocrinologist, which is the study of hormones, and then neuroendocrinology, which is the study of brain chemistry. But about 30 years ago, I realized that our current system of medicine, which people refer to as allopathic medicine, but we can call it contemporary scientific medicine, which would be a more accurate term. The current system of medicine is not geared to either treat chronic illness of any kind, nor is it geared to satisfy the demands of every demographic in the world, because every demographic has its own needs. For example, if you look at India right now and look at Orissa, there are lots of problems: extreme poverty, not availability of medical technology or services, social injustice, economic injustice, poor nutrition. Current epidemics include things like malaria and dengue and many illnesses that disappeared in the Western world even 100 years ago. But we still have them in parts of India: tuberculosis, malaria, AIDS, COVID-19, and much more. So the conditions in many parts of the world are so abysmal that what we do here in the West doesn't apply to everything that could be done, say, in Bihar or Orissa or India or any other part of the world. So this effort by Sri Sri and your wonderful organization is actually very timely, because we can look at how do we tackle in a way that is integrative. Integrative is a good word. It's not alternative. It's maybe not even complementary. It's really integrative, where we use the best of medicine that works. Doesn't matter if it's so-called allopathic, so-called contemporary science, so-called pharmaceutical, so-called Ayurveda. But integration means anything that works. And anything that works and is scientifically proven to work, this is the time to embark on this next phase of how medicine will be in the future. But even more important, the future of well-being is at stake across the world. Right now, as you can see, the US is the worst in COVID-19, despite the fact that supposedly we have the best facilities, but it's the worst right now. Every other country, including India, including China, including Brazil, including Russia, is doing better. So something is wrong with the system right here as well. And when people talk about health reform, they're not talking about health reform at all. They're talking about insurance reform, which is a whole different topic, but everybody's confusing and confounding the issues. So let me just lay a few important points right now where this could go. This effort by your wonderful organization led by His Holiness Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, where this could go is actually lead the world, possibly in the future, of well-being and a deeper understanding of how we manage both acute and chronic illness. Here are some facts. Only 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant, in that they guarantee a disease. Let me repeat that. Only 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant, which means a genetic mistake that is irrevocable and guarantees the disease. The best known example of that right now in the news is Angelina Jolie, who had BRCA gene, which predicts breast cancer. So she had a preventive mastectomy, and rightly so. In a few years, there'll be new technologies even for that. So we right now has a new technology coming out called CRISPR, where you can cut and paste a gene the same way you cut and paste an email. And so that will be a great boon for people who have these genetic abnormalities which guarantee the disease. But I just said something more important, which is only 5% of diseases are guaranteed by genetic mutations. The rest, even if you have risk factors for that, doesn't matter: breast cancer, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, cancer, autoimmune illness, premature aging, all of that is influenced by what we call environmental and epigenetic factors, which include simple things like sleep, or managing stress, or doing yoga, or stimulating the vagus nerve through pranayama or controlled breathing, or doing vipassana, or doing mantra meditation, or doing any kind of reflective self-inquiry, or through transcendence. So there are many, many ways that we can epigenetically modify the risk factors of disease and even the genetic abnormalities that make you predisposed to disease. So as a result of this, maybe about 6 years ago, we did a study at our center. We did a 1-week retreat, meditation, yoga, pranayama, reflective inquiry, modified the diet to a plant-based diet, totally vegetarian, but also maximum diversity of plant-based foods. And then also took people into reflection on various issues, the 5 kleshas, the human causes of suffering, a deeper understanding of consciousness as fundamental reality. And within one week, all the genes that were responsible for self-regulation and healing, they increase their activity. So genes are not nouns, they're verbs, they're activities. And all the genes that were responsible for self-regulation and healing went up, some 17-fold over baseline. And one of the contributors to our study was Elizabeth Blackburn, who's a Nobel laureate in medicine and biology and physiology. And she measured the enzyme telomerase, and the enzyme telomerase controls aging at the genetic level. The level of telomerase went up 40% in 1 week. And no drug can do that, by the way. And telomerase basically reverses aging for a period of time, slows down the aging process, and also is responsible for healthy aging. So in short, 1 week of vipassana, meditation, diet, and emotional resilience, emotional intelligence, spiritual bonding, understanding of non-dual reality changed the entire genome activity in these people in 1 week. So now that kind of study has been replicated by others. These studies are published in peer-reviewed journals across the world, including Nature, which is one of the best, most respected peer-reviewed journals. So what do we see as the future of well-being and the future of medicine? Here's what we see. Acute illness, so somebody has pneumonia, somebody has an infection, somebody has malaria, somebody has dengue, or somebody is going through an acute inflammatory crisis, heart attack, etc. There's no substitute for modern contemporary medicine, which we call allopathic. I don't know what the origin of that word is, but anyway. So for acute illness, pharmaceutical, surgical, and mechanistic interventions are extremely valuable and will save your life. If you have appendicitis, see a surgeon. If you have pneumonia, take an antibiotic. And if you live in indigent areas like where we are talking about Orissa, then millions of lives have been saved through smallpox inoculation, tuberculosis, diphtheria, tetanus, on and on. Those measures have worked in the past. And what has proved effective is that for acute illness, we use contemporary medicine. But for chronic illnesses, both for prevention and treatment, modern medicine doesn't do much, okay? In fact, once I did a survey of the 5 most common drugs that are used in the hospital, and I found that there were, for 5 conditions: pain, anxiety, nausea, insomnia, and constipation. That's 90% of all prescriptions in the United States. Pain, anxiety, nausea, insomnia, and constipation. Of course, it doesn't apply to the rest of the world, but these 5 conditions are all related to stress. Don't need any medication, and you can learn to control these 5 conditions through various integrative therapies, but particularly lifestyle, and of course, Ayurveda. So for acute illness, we have contemporary medicine. As far as prevention of chronic illness, it is early adoption of good nutrition and good hygiene, mental hygiene, physical hygiene, sanitation, and lifestyle, period. And if you do that, you have 95% or more of chronic illness covered. So what is the future of well-being? The future of well-being is the combination of acute interventions for acute illnesses. But for chronic illnesses, including diabetes, heart disease, inflammatory diseases, cancer, autoimmune diseases, premature aging, and everything that's connected to what we call metabolic syndrome, modern medicine doesn't do much. It, at the most, covers symptoms and helps alleviate acute distress, but doesn't alter the natural history of the disease. In fact, 90% of all prescriptions all over the world are of optional or marginal benefit. So where are we now today? Where are we now today is that in our institutions, with very good research support, we favor this integration, leave acute illness to modern interventions, pharmaceutical, surgical, mechanistic. But for chronic illness, the future of well-being is actually very precise, very measurable, very predictable. It requires education, participation, but it's measurable. Everything I'm saying is measurable. And we are now developing algorithms using artificial intelligence and VR and immersive learning experiences to see how even a facial recognition, doing a selfie, or I like to call it a welfie, you can do a welfie, you can do voice recognition, you can look at body language, and you can then correlate it with things like blood pressure and heart rate variability and stress and immune function and hormone function, and all that can be documented instantly on a smartphone. So we are looking at a future that is unbelievable if we do the right things. In the United States, there's a big confusion right now between what they call health reform and as insurance reform. And everything that's happening in this country is controlled by special interest groups, lobbyists, and the medical industrial complex, which is too closely tied to the military industrial complex as well. So you cannot depend on governments, cannot depend, at least in the West, cannot depend on national leaders in the West, cannot depend on lobbyists. We need a grassroots movement that democratizes well-being across the world. This effort in Odisha, which I'm reading about right now, is highlighting the success of Sri Sri's previous work as a humanitarian, and why he thinks this project could be a success is it's the need of our time right now. And everything I've spoken about is totally measurable. So what I'd like to suggest to your wonderful organization is that at the right time, if you want, we can give research support to you. We work with Nobel laureates. We work with universities like Harvard, UCSF, UCSD, Scripps, Duke University, and we are creating a futuristic community in Florida as well, which is totally based on the future of well-being, with 1,000 citizen scientists donating their data from birth to death. It's never been done before. And we're going to combine everything you learn from Ayurveda, because if you look across the board, Ayurveda is the only scientific, well-codified methodology for both prevention and treatment. Only real, true, integrative methodology for all of that. As you know, Ayurveda is based on a famous aphorism, Yatha Pinde, Tatha Brahmande. As is the atom, so is the universe. As is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. As the human body, so is the cosmic body. And so as we delve into the human body as a representation of the cosmos, we actually find that there is an inner intelligence within all of us, which is the ultimate and supreme genius, which mirrors the wisdom of the cosmos, of the universe. That's where these Mahavakyas come from. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, on and on. So when we take this very seriously, we see that through Ayurvedic methodologies, which include daily and seasonal routine, which understands biological rhythms, which understands our connection to nature and the universe, understands the value of emotions like love, compassion, joy, kindness, equanimity, transcendence. These are spiritual experiences. And ultimately, all spiritual experience leads to what we call self-regulation and healing, because the most fundamental state of our being is what we call pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is modifying itself as mind, the activity we call mind, which is thoughts and feelings and emotions and imagination, but also modifying itself as the sensations in our body and also our perceptions of the world and how we think about the world. Well, we feel separate, we feel connected, we feel unified, we feel transcended. We go through all the stages of higher consciousness, Turiya, Turiya Tatta, Bhagavad Chetna, Brahmi Chetna. These are very profound experiences that our tradition, championed by great masters, including our wonderful Guru Bhai, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, these are divine therapies, and we should not minimize them, because today, in today's world, we can measure everything. So I can show you algorithms where, but just taking a little selfie or a video for 10 seconds, you can actually predict everything about a person. This is what our healers used to do in India. The Siddha doctors, the Ayurvedic physicians, the great herbalists, Maharishi, what's his name? I forget right now, but he was a great Indian herbalist who would look at a plant, talk to a plant and tell you what it's good for. And we would go and verify that and codify the pharmacogenetics of this. So this is where we are today. Ayurveda is going to lead the world in the treatment of chronic illness, prevention of chronic illness, reversal of chronic illness. Everything is going to be measurable. It's going to be combined with the best of modern technology, especially diagnostic technology, but also interventions, acute interventions. And so something like what you are building in Orissa is very timely at this moment. It could pioneer a new future for well-being across the world, and everything could be measurable, and everything could be replicable, and everything could be standardized. So this could actually be the next revolution in medicine. There are 5 revolutions coming in the future, and we should all be very, very mindful of them. The first is a revolution in what we call agriculture, going back to very basic Vedic principles of resurrecting the planetary microbiome, which is all the genetic information on this planet for life. It exists under the earth, and we need to revive that. So agriculture, food production, energy, which is totally independent of fossil fuels, transportation, which is autonomous and independent of fossil fuels, matter, where we stop extracting matter from the earth, but actually create matter from photons and wavicles and particles and force fields. And that's being looked at right now in this world. And ultimately, the convergence of information technologies that combine the West interest in technology and acute interventions, but they're not enough unless we understand what life is. And life is the combination of the unified activity of what we call mind, body, perceptual experience, the world, and our consciousness, Jivatma and Brahman. We see that sequence, that we are conscious agents that are differentiated from infinity. And it is our responsibility to heal ourselves and heal the world. So starting with ourselves, starting with our biological organism, which is really a mode of knowing. We are conscious agents differentiated from infinity, and we have the ability to actually understand the very mechanics of creation. And we have the ability to replicate it, and it's a major responsibility. I would say it's a divine responsibility. And I'm grateful for Shri to lead this with this amazing project in India. And I would give everybody a call to action right now. If you can donate to this project, please do. Donate whatever you can, your resources, your money, your expertise. There is emergence happening in the world right now. And emergence happens when you have shared vision, where you have inspired leadership, where you have emotional and spiritual bonding, and where we have transparency and cooperation and a new story. The old story is dying. It has caused a lot of problems in the world. The pandemic is only one. But we are seeing a world that is bent on destroying itself because of lack of awareness. And today, we need to bring back the original teachings of India, which said if you wake up, then you can heal the world. But you can't heal the world if you don't heal yourself. We need that critical mass in the world right now so we can move in a direction of consciousness that leads to a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And if we don't do it, then our humanity is incomplete. So my call to action for all of you is please support this project. This could be the future of well-being, not only for Orissa, which needs it, but for the whole world, because it's not ultimately about money and technology. It's about who are we as human beings? And if we don't recognize ourselves as self-aware, that we in fact can be the peace we want to see in the world. We can be the love we want to see in the world. Peace can't be created by Peace Nobel laureates. Peace can only be created by those who are peaceful. And nor can love be created by those who write about love, but those who have been the recipients and givers of love. So today we need this kind of humility. We need emergence. We need a new context, a new story, and a new future. So I'm grateful to Sri Ravi Shankar for leading this effort, and Orissa, and hope this will be one of many in the future. And you can count on our support at the Chopra Foundation, whether it's research or any other aspect of everything I've discussed, including rethinking the human condition entirely for a new story for human civilization. That's all I have to say. So I hope this launches immediately. The world needs it, and God bless all of you. And great thanks to Shri for initiating this amazing project. I'll end with a greeting that we used to have, Shri and I, many years ago. Jai Gurudev.
Wow, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
So I hope that is helpful. And by the way, after you publish this, if you want to send it to us, we can also put it on social media, if you want.
Sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, it's up to you. All is good, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, bye-bye. I hope that was fine for you.
Yes.
Yes, that was
Incredible presentation. Thank you for taking the time to
Always helps. Okay, bye. Take care. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Dr. Chopra. Hey, let's make that a theme for today. Like Dr. Chopra said, what are we doing? We'll pioneer and bring evolutionary change in the world of health and well-being forever. And that was really nice. So today we have many special guests, and our next guest is Preity Upala. Preity is a former investment banker turned thought leader and media entrepreneur based in Hollywood, California. She works as a geopolitical expert, award-winning international columnist, and is a director of the Omnia Institute. The former Miss India International host a popular news show called The Preity Experience, and is a much sought-after commentator on TV shows around the world. Along with being an author, she's a geopolitical analyst, with her work appearing in more than 100 publications, including the National Telegraph, Business Standard, Foreign Policy, Times of Israel, and the Times of India. She has spoken at various think tanks and has been a keynote speaker at a global summit such as WEF and Horasis. Preity has received the Young Leader of the Decade Award at the Women's Economic Forum, as well as the Icon of the Year at the Promising Indians Foundation. She holds a BTech honors from Australia and certification in nuclear terrorism from Stanford University and counterterrorism from Georgetown University. As a professional speaker and certified Dharma ambassador, she has spoken at many global platforms on the topics of Sanatan Dharma, feminism, soft power, and Indian philosophy. She speaks 5 languages, and her literary work has been translated into several languages. Her book on Indic feminism is set to be released in 2021. As someone who has traveled to over 100 countries, she calls herself a citizen of the world, yet a Sanatani in her spirit. Please welcome Ms. Preity Upala.
Namaste. America is the jewel box, but India has the jewels. Swami Vivekananda. Namaste, everyone. I am honored to be in your company this evening, and I'm honored to follow Dr. Deepak Chopra ji. What an inspiring conversation and discussion that was. Just shows us how important and timely this great cause is. If COVID has taught us anything, it has made us wonder what kind of world we really want to live in and the kind of powers we want running it. In my humble opinion, as a geopolitical analyst, I truly believe that COVID has placed India in a geopolitical sweet spot. If there is any country that can truly be the pharmacy of the world in terms of size and scope, it has to be Bharat. It is the power that the whole world trusts today, especially in the area of medicine and well-being. It is a benevolent superpower in the making. But before I get to anything further, let's talk about Brand India. What is Brand India? India is a product of its civilization, of its culture and its heritage. When I think about Brand India, I see a 6,000 plus year old civilization. I see the oldest living continuous civilization in the world that is thriving today and as relevant today and as it has ever was. And why has it remained intact? It is as contemporary as it is eternal. Its USP truly is its civilizational history and philosophical ethos. The Bharatiya way and the dharmic framework is what makes it stand apart in the world. It's a marketer's dream in many ways. My advice to India, to Bharat, is don't ape the West. Go back to your arts, to your cuisines, to your vernacular languages, to your vernacular architectures, because there lies the real treasure that the world is looking for. I'm inspired to think about Amitabh Kant's famous slogan that he created for the state of Kerala. Kerala, God's own country. And when I think about the slogan, I realize that slogans don't make an ad work. Branding isn't just about advertising. You really have to create a unique experience for the consumer. You need to merge vision and experience so that you can create something extraordinary for the consumer. When people think about India, they do think about yoga and meditation and spirituality. When they think about Kerala, they think about Ayurveda. India is a unique civilization with a demonstrated capability to manage deep divides, engage with other cultures, religions, philosophies, and peacefully integrate various streams of consciousness. These values are based on the ideas about divinity, cosmology, and a society which stands in direct contrast to the fundamental framework of today, which is namely the Western civilization. Which brings me now to my next point, which is India's role in the future of healthcare and also the well-being of the world at large. Only India can be the world's pharmacy and in producing medicine that the world actually trusts. But equally, we must produce Ayurvedic and natural healing technology and healing remedies as well to boost immunity and fight these viruses. In the words of Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, who said, "We often neglect the usefulness of our traditional systems of medicine. We need to scientifically explore the benefits of these systems of medicine." Not too many people around the world know about Siddha medicine outside of Tamil Nadu. But I'm happy to say that today, there's so many herbal formulations that use Siddha medicine as their foundation that are now being experimented and studied upon by German scientists. This is an extremely successful example of two great countries, India and Germany, coming together to create something for the betterment of mankind. I think it's a big step in the right direction. We need much more of this. A great example of the joint collaboration was the recent Ayurgenomics project in the mid-2020. Ayurgenomics means using genomic tools for Ayurveda to investigate the correlation between Prakriti and genomics. This may be some of the most effective contribution that India is providing in this great fight against coronavirus. And finally, this brings me to my final point. A country is only as great as the dignity that it bestows upon its citizens. We have some of the best doctors in the world, no doubt. We produce perhaps the most number of doctors in the world as well. But none of this means anything if we can't care for our weakest. Odisha is a remarkable Indian state. It is the home of spirituality in many ways. The city Puri is the home of the Ratha Yatra. Odisha is incredibly blessed. It's blessed by Sri Krishna. I think the people of Odisha are blessed. However, I think that the people of Odisha deserve better. They deserve a level of healthcare that India actually transports and exports to the rest of the world. We are in very precarious times indeed, with little trust towards these great Western liberal democracies in the world, like the US and the UK, who are struggling to care for their own during this global pandemic. There are very few dharmic countries in the world as well. India is one of those. Bharat's strength is as a global force multiplier. Its goal is global good. It needs to not shy away from global responsibilities. Bharat has always been a Vishwaguru of the world, and I think it's now time for it to step up on the geopolitical stage and really take even a greater responsibility. The whole world is watching and waiting for India to take the lead, both morally, spiritually, as well as diplomatically. So I pray and hope that the people of Odisha get the privilege and the fortune of having this amazing university medical facility in their state. I hope that they receive the care that they truly deserve. And I think this is such a great example of what could be possible in the rest of India. And quite frankly, in the rest of the world. I think what the Art of Living Foundation is doing is remarkable, and it's truly global. Odisha is really just a microcosm of what's happening in the world. So my prayer and hope is for Odisha. With that, I would really like to urge all of you to donate your money, time, energy, efforts, your love, your good wishes, whatever you can. Spread the word. I think it's so important. Nothing beats the power of the spoken word, of course. And also, I'd like to end. I want to thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure and a joy. Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Jai Gurudev, Namaste, Dhanyavad.
Hey, Gurudev, thank you so much, Preeti, for your kind words. That was very nice and very informative. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Preeti, for taking the time to be with us and for the wonderful speech.
By your parents or by other people for yourself, and maybe when your calling comes, you can adjust to the needs of the world